Morning everyone.
Good morning.
Special little video today, and it's we're talking about toilets.
Yes.
As you probably guessed from the title of the video, we've previously done a video all about number twos mostly, and toilet habits and things like that, with different concepts of how to deal with a toilet in a van. So if you want to go and watch that video, I'll link it up there now. Just there. That's it. And in the video description down below.
Yes.
And if you don't know about the video description, if you look underneath the video title, you'll get a little couple of lines of the video description, and it'll say show more. Click on that, and that'll allow you to read the full video description with any links to products. And if you're on a smartphone, if you go again across to the right hand side of the video title, there's a tiny little down arrow, and if you click that, then it'll show the same thing, the full video description.
We've had loads of people that are struggling to find it, haven't we? So, because they've moved it all.
I know, I keep changing it, YouTube. So, without further ado, let's get on with today's topics.
Yes.
A little caveat I would like to put in there. We are going to talk openly and honestly about toilets in motorhomes, camper vans, caravans, just generally, you know, how we and other people use the toilet, and how you dispose of it.
Yeah.
So, the first thing I wanted to say was that a lot of people are asking questions about, what do you do this occasion, what do you do that, what do you do this, and it's difficult because it seems like everyone's trying to replicate what they do at home in a house.
Yeah.
And you just can't do that. You've got to think completely differently. While you've got a toilet, and it might look like a toilet, you've got a cassette, a box. This is a cassette. You push this into your toilet. This is Thetford, and it collects everything you drop in your toilet. Let's go with the adages of number ones and number two.
Yeah.
You then have to empty that somewhere too. So essentially, finding a public toilet or a chemical disposal point, that kind of thing. It's
not a bush.
No.
There's people with bushes and all other things and rivers. No, not never, ever, never.
I mean, at the very worst, you can, if you're correctly identifying a sewage drain, you can drop it into a sewage drain where houses and buildings empty their toilets through. But other than that, that's it.
Yeah.
So, you've just got to think about what you're doing, as in your ones and twos, and how much you're putting in there and where you're going to empty it. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, we use this flush and we do this and that. And all I've got to think about is the more you flush in it, the quicker it's going to fill up.
Yeah.
That's about 25 litres. So that's on average, if we use it for both ones and twos, say for example if we're on a campsite like we are now, use it for ones and twos, you put in toilet paper down there, you're flushing down there, blah blah blah, 2 days.
Yeah.
Between the two of us.
Between the two of us.
Obviously if you're out on the road as we are, living full time, that would be really difficult trying to find a public toilet or a campsite, whatever, every 2 days to empty it. So it's a bit difficult. So the first thing you need to get through your head is, it's, I wouldn't say emergency, but kind of emergency. If you can find somewhere else to go to the toilet, like a supermarket or a public toilet, a pub, relatives,
service
friends,
stations on motorways, don't miss up the chance to go and have a posh pee or poo.
Yeah, if you're sitting on porcelain, you know, that's considered to be a posh visit to the toilet. Yeah, that's what we call it anyway.
Yeah, and you know, it's got a proper flush.
Yes. Yeah. And you don't have to empty it.
Don't have to empty it. Yeah.
So that's the first thing I'd say to you, is just get that thought through your brain that, you know, you are using it when you absolutely need to use it. Other than that, you're using as many other things as possible.
Yeah.
Which brings me on to the next subject, and Mandy will show you what you can use instead of doing number ones in the cassette, because believe it or not, number ones take up the most room.
Well, we figured out that my number ones take up the most room, it seems, and you'd never know that if you didn't have one of these. And
You've
maybe too
decorated
much.
yours.
Yeah, because we've got his and hers, So
Yep.
John's is plain, and mine, because we kind of pop them in the bathroom like that, so I know mine's got the B on the lid. And we use these when we're on the road, so we don't put any wee in the tank at all. We figured out I can fill one of these up in one go.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
John, not
very
so much,
strange.
but it is the weirdest thing. And I get a little thing like this that sits in, that makes it easier for me to use. So we use these whenever we're out and about on the road, if we're doing lots and lots of wild camping, and when it's full, it goes down the grid.
Yep, or it goes somewhere nature-wise, like if there's nothing around for miles, base of a tree or big load of bushes where no one's going to walk past.
Yeah, it's never just like walk up to the bushes and there. It's like walk up to the bushes, take 2 steps into the bushes and then pour it, just to make sure that no one's going to walk on it, no dogs are going to come up and walk on it, anything like that.
Just be responsible, really.
Yeah.
And that's one aspect of kind of reducing your need to go and empty your cassette all the time.
Yeah.
Now, another kind of aspect about that is toilet paper. There are some people out there that are extreme on this, and they will bag toilet paper, a bit like if you're visiting a holiday kind of apartment in Greece or Portugal or something.
And you're not allowed to flush your toilet paper.
Yeah, and they have little bin bags there with, you know, sort of you put your toilet paper in there, and every day you go and dispose of it.
I mean, we've got dog poo bags because of Coop, so we've got all that kind of stuff. So this time when we know when we do have to stretch the cassette out, then toilet paper goes in a bag, and then it just gets binned with the rubbish and tied in a nice knot. Goes with the rest of the dog poop.
Because what we've found is that by using these measures, we can get 2 weeks out of a cassette.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a pain emptying it. That's the next little thing I'm gonna, you know, I'm not going to sugarcoat that bit.
I don't think what do they say? You can't
polish a turd.
You can't sugarcoat one either.
Actually, Mythbusters did polish a turd.
Did they?
Yeah, I think
wonderful.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, if you Google that, Mythbusters polishing a turd, you've got a cassette full of poo. Some of it obviously is quite solid, and maybe not some of it. So you're grimacing already.
I don't do the loo.
No. So you've got to bear with that in mind, that you are going to get to a point where you'll need to empty it, like I say, a couple of weeks, and it's not going to be that easy because there's no liquids to flush it out as such. So what I do is, after a couple of weeks, it's still not full, like the red light's not on, so I press the flush button and just fill it up with as much water as possible before it brims. And
also, if we've got pee bottles that have liquid in them,
we can use that to flush
they get put in there
as well.
Anything to kind of liquefy a little bit.
Yes, but it may take some flushing to clear it out. So you might have to get another container of that and, you know, sort of like keep topping it up or whatever.
Yeah.
Use your grey water is the easiest way to say that.
Yeah, and these little pee bottles are great as well, aren't they? Because you can fill them up from your grey water and then keep decanting them in there. It does work really well.
So easy way to flush it out. Now, the next subject I'm going to get onto is the use of chemicals to put in your cassette. We don't really use chemicals. We do it once every 5 fill-ups or empties, whatever you call it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a bacteria swill, isn't it?
Yeah, like a fresh. We use the laundry tabs from any supermarket, because what you're doing then is you're adding a little bit of an agent that cleans it out, because it does all froth up and everything.
Yeah, it goes
like
all bubbly when you're rinsing it out, and it gets sparkly clean inside your tank.
Yeah, and it adds fragrance to what otherwise isn't very nice smelling.
Although we've figured out, with no wee in there,
it doesn't smell
there's
so
no
much.
smell.
Yeah.
Well, there's hardly any smell, which is the total opposite of what I was thinking, but that's probably where the composting loos get it from, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
It's easier to handle.
Yeah. But yeah, the other thing I like about the tabs is that they are so inexpensive that after week number 1 of number 2's in there, sorry to keep doing that, but so after the first week of having nothing but poos in it, it might pong a little bit when you open the trap to have a poo, so you chuck another one in there. And speaking of how to use these products and which is best, I'm going to link now up there to a lovely video our friends Camper Van Tails did. And you're going to love it because they wore lab coats and everything. Yeah,
it is a chuckle fest, as well as it being really important information. It's actually really good.
Yeah, it's a cracking video. They went full on. They didn't use their own poo, but they used the dogs.
Yes.
and they used all sorts of different products in there to see which one worked best at breakdown, smells, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, go watch that one.
It's very thorough, and it is funny. Yeah.
Yeah. The next one we need to cover, and we talked about this a bit last time, I'll just say it very briefly, but toilet roll. If you are putting toilet roll in a cassette, there's a lot of people out there that say you've got to use the manufacturer's toilet roll, which is not only stupidly expensive, it's just stupid really, because it's just toilet roll.
The cheaper paper you buy, the more it does break down, we found.
Yeah.
But we use, what do we get? Aldi's aloe vera smelling something one, like whatever, and it seems to be fine in there when we do put it in there.
So don't waste your money on the fancy manufacturer's toilet paper.
If you don't want.
Yeah. So the other little point of discussion here as well, we get an awful lot of questions of how do you stop the smell of the toilet, as in the basin. So after you've done your business and you shut the trap, that's sealed. So there should be no smells coming out of that whatsoever. But obviously this still gets smells there. You are still dropping ones and twos into the basin. And it's a plastic bowl. Yeah. And there is only kind of like really two really easy solutions to that. And number one is you clean it regularly. Yeah. Give it a proper scrub. Yeah, I make my own though with you do. Bicarbonate of soda and essential oils, and just put my gloves on, good old fashioned, and I scrub away at the plastic with that, and that really does freshen it up, doesn't it? It's really good. And then there's a product called Rain-X for plastic. And it's meant for plastic windows, so you can put them on your Perspex plastic windows in your camper van or motorhome or whatever. You can also put it on your toilet basin, and it helps things flush down much faster and stops the stains and things like that building up. What did it take me? Like 10 minutes to do it, because you have to give it like a couple of coats and then let it dry between coats. So it's a 10-minute thing, and then it lasts for maybe a month until we just have to keep reapplying. It's good stuff. Yeah. A little tip on emptying your cassette, because there's a lot of you guys that are obviously going to be doing this for the first time. Maybe you've just bought a motorhome or camper van, or you're just getting into this and you're thinking, how do you empty it? Essentially, so you've got the cassette and it's got this neck, and that's essentially where your poo's going to come out of. And all you do is you tip it upside down. Obviously you take the lid off, you press the top button there, which releases the air pressure, and then that really gushes out then quite quickly, I might add. So be cautious for that one. So what I do, press that button, as you're doing it. So what I do is I get the thumb ready on the button, I take the cap off, and I very quickly drop the neck into the lowest part of the toilet I possibly can, and then I press the air release button on the top, and that stops splashback and mess going everywhere. Yeah. And it's the cleanest way to do it, because this is the next point. If you're using public toilets, and this can be supermarkets, petrol station services, or an actual public toilet, or even if it's a family relative's toilet, you want to leave it cleaner than when it was when you arrived, sort of thing. You don't want splashback, you don't want to mess everywhere. So if you drop the neck in, even if you drop it to the water line, press the button, it's just going to flush through. You just clean up after yourself, because you'd never want to be told you can't go back there again. No. Or if people see you walking into a toilet with a cassette and then you come out and it's an absolute mess, then people will start noticing more, won't they? Yeah. So. And that does bring me on to another concept of how brave are you? Oh, he has bigger balls than I do, let's just put it that way. I will most of the time walk into most public toilets like this, but if I'm going to a supermarket or somewhere else, I put it in a black bag, and then I put it in this bag, and then I'll walk in and I'll go to the cubicle, and then I'll debag it and then empty it, and then I'll put it back in the bag, and then I'll walk out with it. But you're going to get a small percentage of people that know what a toilet cassette is. Yeah. So maybe 5 people out of every 100 you're going to pass will think, what's he doing with his toilet? They'll probably guess that you're going to empty it. Maybe they might say, oh, what are you doing with that in here? Yeah, but maybe they probably 10% might disapprove, but not openly. We've never had anyone say anything. So chances are you will never get anybody that will question what you're doing anyway. So if you do carry it like I do to a public toilet, I'll park nearby and just go straight in. If it's an outside one in the middle of a park or something like that, I'll just go straight in the cubicle, boof, clean it all up, straight out, pop it back into the side of the van, and then we're done.
And I do think that John's balls out confidence is actually part of the reason why he doesn't get asked about it. He literally just strolls right in like he's got nothing wrong. If I'm emptying my wee bottle around a tree, I'm cagey as anything. He'll laugh his head off at me because I'm like, But
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there are two things that you never want to do in public. And one is get your private parts out and go to the toilet. And the second one is to be seen to be doing something that's disgusting. I mean, the only downside is, and obviously you've got to consider this as well, if you're doing it in somebody's house or a small confined space, it's going to smell a little bit. Yeah. So get used to that.
Yeah, crack a window. If you're in a house, crack a window and shut the bathroom door.
Yeah.
And leave it shut. And stay in there for a bit.
And I don't expect you to have air freshener with you or anything like that, but if you've got body spray, take it with you.
Yeah, just anything like that will cover up.
Dissipate the stench.
The smell a little bit, yeah. Yeah, so the second best one, if it's a person's house, is normally on the premises of the house there will be the sewage inspection grid, won't they?
Yeah.
So 99% of the time it's on the property, so if you can use that instead.
Yeah. And obviously then there's the nature wheeze as well. If you are out in the middle of nowhere and no one else is around, by all means go find a bush. And if you're a female, you need a shiwi, don't you?
You do. People ask me about this all the time, so here is my shiwi, my very clean one, because I wouldn't be holding it like this if it wasn't. There are different shapes and sizes, because women are all different shapes and sizes, and you literally pop that, hold it snug against your body, and have a wee. And for all you women out there, if you do get one of these, this is a cheap one off eBay. I've not actually bought the Shiwi brand because I thought it was a lot of money. It was like 30 quid or something for something I didn't know if I was going to like to use. So I've got this one. And all I can say is peeing standing up is so weird. And your body's going, you can't go, I'm not sat down. Nope, no peeing, you're not sat down. And you're just like, oh, come on, I need a wee. But once you get used to it, it's great. Hands on my hips. And he's like, what you doing? I'm like, I'm having a pee, I'm standing up. And it was brilliant. And it was liberating, actually. But yes, it is wonderful.
So, almost covered everything. Obviously, the last thing I'm going to say is, because I've been showing it you, is have a spare cassette as well.
Oh, yeah.
And essentially, the last thing I'd say is just, I know we've said it in little bits long, just be thoughtful and responsible about it.
Yeah.
I know this is extreme. We live in our motorhome, and getting to these places to empty the toilet, especially during COVID, has been quite difficult, and the UK isn't great. If you're travelling through Europe, then there are the service points where you can get fresh water and air where you can sleep and that, and you can dump your toilet usually as well. Now, obviously there's a point of mentioning chemicals in there, in that the chemicals we use, and I'll link them in the video description down below, are safe from all the nasty things that can upset like a chemical tank, a waste tank.
Yeah, because it's got natural bacteria in it. It has to be formaldehyde free.
Yeah.
Because they used to put, formaldehyde is what they used to embalm people.
Yeah, I don't know why they did it, but it was obviously something to do with smells or something.
Yeah, so maybe. Probably got rid of all of that. But yeah, they've if you use any chemicals with formaldehyde in, and then you use any toilet that links to a septic tank, you will kill all of the good bacteria in there, and it will cost the people a fortune to do it. So there's only a few now that still have formaldehyde in, but if you are going to be going in rural areas, and especially in France, because all the little villages, they will all have FOSS tanks that are underneath the streets, you have to use green chemicals. So you just have to make sure whatever chemical you use is formaldehyde free, and it's fine. You're not going to cause any problems with anything. But if you use environmentally friendly laundry tabs, that's the same thing. It doesn't bother any bacteria there either.
The tab breaks down really quickly, like I say, in the video we've linked to for Campervan Tales. They show it all, the way it breaks down and that kind of stuff. But I just thought it's worth mentioning about the chemicals and why they're called a chemical toilet, because you put a chemical in there, what sort of chemical you should use, and the process of how that works. It's a bit weird, because if you were to keep a toilet or the stuff in your toilet for long enough, it would break down and the chemicals would work. But like I say, we can keep this thing for like a couple of weeks maybe at the stretch,
Yeah.
And it's still not broke down, even with the proper chemicals in there.
Yeah, I mean, some people also use a SOG system.
Yeah.
And you probably know a bit more about that than me.
Yeah, essentially a SOG system is when you open the trap, let's call it a trap, it's the flap between the basin and the cassette, and you open the flap and then go to the toilet. As soon as you open the flap, you're turning that. So inside there, I won't open it now,
No, we don't open
inside there is the flap. That turns when you open inside. You probably understand that noise. And when you open that, it turns this knob, which has got a micro switch to a fan, which is most of the time on the decent ones expelling the air outside. There's a little tube on there that connects to it as well, and essentially what it's doing is taking the nasty smell outside rather than rising up underneath where you go into the toilet.
And it goes through a filter, doesn't it, on the outside?
Yeah, I think the carbon filter ones don't go outside.
Oh,
they
right,
just suck
okay.
it through the filter,
Right.
and then you got to change the filter to get rid of the smell.
Right.
But the true systems expel it outside, which is awful if someone's sat there and someone goes to the loo.
Imagine you're at a camp up or something.
Yeah.
I suppose I've never sat close to anybody that's got the SOG.
No.
But yeah, it wouldn't be nice if you're on a meet-up and sat outside.
But,
they don't
yeah.
use any chemicals at all in the toilet.
No, they're just basically, you know, you sit there, you do your business, and it's a low pressure air through the fan that's taking the smell away. And if you are after cleaning the seals and everything like that, just if you don't really want to do anything else, you can get some really strong like kitchen paper.
Yep.
Or if you really want to, you could use a wipe, sort of a biodegradable wipe or something like that, and clean them up that way.
Keep plenty of gloves.
You've got a substance with vinegar in that, haven't you? That's pretty good at cleaning it too.
Yep,
so.
and vodka and water. Vodka's naturally antibacterial. That's what I use for my antibacterial spray. Just vodka and water. Neat vodka if you want to waste it that way, but it is because it's very few and far between for cleaning your seals. It really does clean your seals really well.
Yeah.
Like gets all the bacteria off them, but cleans them properly with it being alcohol as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, vodka is the next thing I would recommend if you need to clean your seals.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
So obviously, if you've got your tips to want to share with everyone else, please do leave them in the comments section down below. And let us know what you do and how long you get out of your cassette, and whether you're a cheeky one like me and just get your cassette and walk in a public loo and empty it. So.
Yeah, and it's one of those funny things if you're just about to set out on full-time van life or in a van build and you just start going out like that, when you do meet up with people, generally by the second night you'll be talking about toilets.
Yeah.
It just happens all the time. You just go somewhere and the toilet thing will come up.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's one of those easy things to get used to because you just
Which
end
is
up.
why we're making this video, really, because so many people talk about it.
Yep. And then I mean the other night we sat down and someone goes, "Hey, there we go. We got to the second night before toilets were mentioned," and that's quite a feat. Normally it comes up before then. So yeah.
Right, well, thanks for watching. You take care, and happy number 1s and 2s.
Yay!
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.